Good morning, Rabbi Perets.
Good morning, Angelique.
I have a question from the Divine Code this week. It's on page 28. I'm going to just read the text and then the question. The Ramban teaches that if Noahide observed the 7 commandments only from an intellectual standpoint, but not because of Hashem's command to Moses, he will receive reward for his good deeds, but he has not earned a part in the ultimate spiritual reward of the future and eternal world to come, because that is obtained only by virtue of submitting one's actions to the will of God that he revealed in his eternal Torah of Moses, the tree of life. The question came forth, so when somebody is not a pious Noahide, he will not earn part of the world to come, but will he have a part of Gan Eden?
Okay, thank you for your question. The answer is no, and I will explain. The condition for a soul to be able to be, first stage, to be integrated in the Garden of Eden, which is the place where generally is referred like the Olam Haba. Okay, Olam Haba has 2 significances. One is the Garden of Eden, the place where the souls exist. It's like if we, with a group of 50 people, will be sitting in an academy learning Torah, and we're not busy with the physical aspects of this world, that's compared to the Garden of Eden. Okay, we're just delving into the divine presence, into the knowledge of divinity. We're exposed to our Creator. Okay, that's the world of souls. That's the world of the Garden of Eden. And that is a world that you get access to by proper Torah study. And there is nuances for this specific generation, where in a general way, Noahides do not have a share in the Garden of Eden, as generally for those that received the Torah, because it was commanded by God to Moses on Mount Sinai, and those are those who have a share in the world to come, meaning the resurrection of the dead. Doesn't mean yet that they have a share in the Gan Eden. They should be stationary there in order to wait for the resurrection. Nevertheless, the moment that they will be stationary can change significantly. If a Noahide, for example, limits himself by fulfilling the commandments, he will be stationary in the lower Garden of Eden. That means that he doesn't have access to the highest chambers where everything is going on, where the true action is taking place, in the chambers of the tzaddikim, the souls of the Jews who are basking in the rays of the divine presence in the study of Torah. Because the study of Torah needs to be in this world already beyond that which the Noahide code requires from a Noahide to have access to the resurrection. You need to learn Hasidus. So for that, come to the Sunday talks, right? And that's what we talk about. That's what gives us a garment to the soul to access to the higher level of the Garden of Eden, where you have levels of understanding. The Bina is that which generates this reality called the Garden of Eden, okay, which is how we understand the divinity. So you do understand that if we do not delve in this in a proper way, the soul cannot have access to this level of the Garden of Eden. Okay, so the answer continues to be the following. If the condition for a person to have access to the world to come and the resurrection of the dead is to have accepted the Torah and the commandments because they were commanded by Hashem, and to Moses in the Torah, that means that the person needs to be connected to a living Jew. To study properly, to observe properly the Torah, he needs to be connected to a living Jew as we speak right now. It doesn't need to be every moment of the day, but it can be once a month, once a year, once a day, once a week, but it has to be there. If not, there is no Torah. The Jew, the Torah, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu are one. So there is no connection with Hashem, and there's no connection to the Torah, and there's no connection to the Jew if the three elements are not synchronized. Okay? So the bitul, the presence of a Noahide in front of a Jew generates that moment of the truth of the accepting the Torah because God commanded it to Moses on Mount Sinai. We have learned this, as you remember on Shavuot, that Hashem said all of these things in order to say that every single Jew that would live for every single generation will be enacting that very moment of Mount Sinai, of God giving the 10 commandments on Mount Sinai, including the 7 commandments for humanity. That means that when a Noahide is in the presence of a Jew learning Torah in a proper way, he is like a Jew was in the Mount Sinai. He is reenacting the acceptance of the commandments because they come from God beyond understanding. That's the condition sine qua non for the resurrection of the dead. It needs to be something that transcends understanding, because if not, it's not eternal. Therefore, you understand that the resurrection of the dead, it's an eternal reality. That is the condition for a Noahide to be able to be resurrected in the world to come, the resurrection of the dead in a body, a soul in a body. In what concerns the Garden of Eden, and that was specifically your question, generally, a Noahide soul that accepted the Torah because it was commanded by God will be stationary in a lower level of the Garden of Eden, which the commandments become the garments for the soul to be able to exist in that level. But it's a very limited level. I'll tell you already right now. It's a very strict level that has no much possibilities to interact, okay, with the souls of the tzaddikim sitting in the chambers and delving back and forth and discussing about the different nuances in divinity. If a Noahide wants to upgrade his possibilities, he will get a reward in the resurrection of the dead. But if you want to upgrade his experience in the Garden of Eden, he has to delve in Chassidus, which is the 5th level of the soul, and that's what we do every single Sunday night with the study of Tanya and with the study of prayer that we're doing currently. This is going beyond the law. You understand that the 2nd commandment, to honor God, everybody understands, not to blaspheme Hashem's name, not to say bad things about Hashem, not to say bad things about the Jewish people, not to say bad things about the Torah, not to say, look, and you don't believe, you should believe in this thing. All people that are involved in Christianity and Islam and Buddhism, etc., it's a constant blasphemy to say that the Jews are supposed to be replaced and the new covenant comes to replace the before covenant, etc. It's all a constant, every word is a blasphemy. It's like saying about Hashem something that he never said. It's like I would make up things about your own life. I would say, you know who Angelique is? Angelique was, God forbid. It's okay. So that's the commandment that we're contemplating. A person can accept, okay, I will not blaspheme. I will not delve into Christianity no more, into Islam no more. I will try to avoid blasphemy. Okay, that's fine. You have that garment of the 2nd commandment. That's fine. But what about honoring Hashem by praying, by knowing how to pray, by considering all that which is enclosed in Torah? And a Noahide can expand and enhance his spiritual levels far and beyond. So it would be a waste of opportunity not to take, okay, that opportunity to actually have a greater stationary state in the Garden of Eden. So I encourage everyone to study Chassidut and to join us on the Sunday talks and to Bezat Hashem, to reach beyond himself and to have access to all of that which is to come.
You were saying, Rabbi, that there is a possibility that for his Noahides can have a little piece of the lower Garden of Eden, can I say then that non-pious people only have the reward in this life, so not in the Garden of Eden, and no resurrection. So when they do good, they receive good in this life.
So yes, the Rambam states in the law that Chachamei Umot Haolam, the wise of the nations, that they are ethical, they do not kill and do not betray and do not commit theft. Because of ethical reasons, they will, or even if they looked at the Bible and say, okay, this is interesting, this is ethical, but no connection to God. They are not sure if God, who is God, and if God said it something, if it was a human being that wrote, but they don't care about that. They care the fact that it's right, okay, to do that. So they do it, they have a reward in this world. The fact that they don't steal, they will not be pursued by justice. The fact they don't kill, they will not be put into prison. The good is expressed and clearly given in this world. Now, it will not give access to the future world to come, because there is no connection to the eternity. Hashem is the eternity that a person connects to when he wants to do it, because Hashem requested, not because a person thinks that this moment, this is more advantageous for me, for my specific situation to do. This is always, you understand, this is always a personal calculation, because a person might be exposed to a new situation, and on that moment, he will transgress. When it's convenient, they will observe. When it's not convenient, they will transgress. So they will have a reward at the measure of their observation in this world, but they do not have a reward in the world to come, as that is allocated only to the Noahides that joined the Jewish people by accepting God's Torah and his commandments, because Hashem commanded them.
Thank you for your answer. And next week, next question.
With pleasure. Besat Hashem.